Every responsible instructor will strongly recommend that you build a foundation of some basic skills before you buy a gun that you intend to use for self-defense.
Now you tell me when it's too late.
A self-defense gun is one that you ought to train with and know like the back of your hand. A gun you may have to use under duress and on autopilot.
What do you mean autopilot?
That means that the skills you may have to call upon are the skills you are likely not training with enough, if at all. Learning and becoming proficient with these skills takes time and consistent, deliberate practice. It doesn't mean you shouldn't buy a gun until you can perform these skills flawlessly. I am recommending, however, that you at least know the following 3 techniques and are able to perform them with relative ease with the gun you have your heart set on.
Ooh, I want this one.
Even if someone you trust recommends that you buy a gun because it is popular or because they swear by it, don't buy it unless you can perform these skills comfortably with that gun. Number 1, racking the slide. If there is one single thing, especially among women and the elderly, that frustrates and impedes new students and gun owners in their development, it is with their struggle to rack a stubborn slide. There are firearms that are designed to address that issue. However, far too often, brand new students call me up and say, I bought a gun, but I never shot before, and blah, blah, blah.
How do you spell blah, blah, blah?
I applaud new gun owners for taking the responsible route to get professionally trained. Unfortunately, all too often, they just don't have the strength to rack the slide, no matter the technique. Even if they manage to rack the slide after multiple attempts, it takes too much time and effort. Time and effort they won't have when reacting to a violent attack that's over in seconds.
That sucks.
Number 2, reaching and operating the safety, magazine release, slide lock, and trigger with one hand. If a self-defense situation puts you in a position whereby you have to use one hand only to manipulate the firearm, you may have to disengage the manual safety so you can fire, release the slide using the slide lock lever, drop a magazine to perform a reload, and pull the trigger, all without having to adjust your grip and lose momentum under extreme stress. Now, you don't have to be under duress when you perform these skills as you try out different guns at the gun store. If you can comfortably reach all these parts, you are on the right path. You can work with your instructor and practice honing these skills later. And number 3, recoil management with one hand. Recoil management becomes more challenging the stronger the caliber and the smaller the gun, even more so when shooting with one hand.
Okay. So what do I do?
When choosing a gun, you want to feel comfortable holding and shooting it when it's fully loaded. It may feel right at the gun store off the shelf with an empty magazine and no recoil, but once you take it out to the range, load it up and shoot it. Can you handle the weight and recoil?
Oh yeah, you betcha.
Smaller guns are usually lighter and thus have more recoil. Also, because of the shorter barrel, smaller pistols become less accurate the further out you go, even when shooting with 2 hands on it. So recoil management with one hand, and worse, your weak hand, will require more work.
Oh, come on, man.
An important part of that is choosing a gun that has the right grip size for your hand, so you can place both hands properly on the gun as if it was tailor-made for you, and you can also grip it firmly and comfortably with one hand. It isn't enough to just have one of the above for optimal functionality and results. You ought to have all 3 under your belt. However, the more experience you have learning and practicing the fundamentals, and once you can perform these skills at a subconscious level, you can venture out and handle a wide variety of firearms, even if they are not a perfect fit.
Will they really teach me to shoot?
Sure they will. A variety of weapons.
There is no shortage of great guns to fit every hand and budget. So before you buy a gun because someone told you you can't go wrong with it, follow the guidelines in this video along with your instructor. Pick the perfect gun for you. If you enjoyed this video, please smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and watch the next video right here. Train hard, often, and safely, and I'll see you at the range.